Chapter 3. I glanced at the clock on the wall. The banquet was starting soon. I couldn't afford to mess around with Justin and Felicia anymore. I picked up Shanna and ran toward the priority lane. I was halfway there when a little girl bolted out of nowhere, forcing me to slow my tracks. "Francine!" Felicia jogged up to the little girl and picked her up. However, the little girl pointed at Shanna's neck. "Mommy, I want that." Felicia cut me a snide look. "Let my daughter have the knockoff necklace, Camille, or I can't promise your daughter will survive servitude at our home in the future." Naturally, I'd be a fool to hand the necklace over. Felicia stepped forward to snatch it off Shanna's neck, but at that moment, someone came from around the corner and yelled, "What's with all the ruckus? Don't you know Don Moretti is throwing a birthday banquet here today?" I recognized right away that the man who spoke was none other than Jack Moretti, William's uncle and the next person he wanted to get rid of. In a true act of sycophancy, Justin sauntered up to Jack. "We're sorry for not knowing better. It so happens that our daughter is holding her birthday banquet here too. I wonder if we'd have the honor of attending Don Moretti's banquet." Justin subtly slipped Jack a check, and the latter grinned immediately. "Of course, but only if it's a small party." Upon hearing this, Justin cleared his throat and glanced at me. "If you'd behaved better all those years ago, Camille, I'd have brought you to Don Moretti's party. Unfortunately, you're just a side piece. You're not worthy of standing by my side, even if you gave birth to our byblow. Felicia and I will be attending the party together then." Felicia lifted her chin and looked down her nose at me, but I returned her gloating look with a half-hearted shrug and a smile. "The Moretti family won't allow outsiders at their banquet. Good luck getting in." With that, I spun on my heels and headed down the priority lane. Surrounded by quietness, I found myself reminiscing on the past. Justin used to love me. After my mother passed, my father brought home his mistress and illegitimate daughter. Felicia and her mother picked on me for 10 whole years, and Justin was the only one who'd protected me. But in the end, on the day I'd joyfully prepared to marry him, he had someone take off my wedding dress so he could personally put it on Felicia. "I'll make you my wife, but my love belongs to Felicia. We'll get our marriage license after the wedding." I knew from the moment he said this that the man who'd claimed to love me was as good as dead. And so, I called my mother's old friend without hesitation and made a deal with her. I'd give her son, who was in a vegetative state, a child, and in exchange for that favor, she'd help me take back everything that belonged to my mother. The Moretti family's private jet flew me to Rostera Island that same day, and I became pregnant with William's child through IVF. When the child turned 1, William regained consciousness. I thought the deal would fall through after that, but William unexpectedly told me I was his lucky charm and wife. He'd never let me go. The 3 of us made for a happy little family, and recently, I conceived our second child through natural means. I wouldn't have returned to Nistra's if I weren't so intent on taking back the Swanson family, and Justin wouldn't even come close to seeing me. I snapped out of my thoughts and straightened out my slightly ruffled clothes. Just then, I got a message from William, informing me he was at the hotel entrance. Beaming at the message on my phone, I turned to look for Shanna, only to hear her scream pierce the air. I frantically ran toward the sound of her voice and saw Felicia gripping her small shoulders while her daughter, Francine, straddled Shanna and slapped her. "What the hell are you doing?" Outraged, I shoved them off Shanna and quickly pulled her into my arms. Shanna's face was red from the slapping, and there were finger imprints on her neck too. However, she held her ground and didn't cry. "Mommy, they wanted to snatch my necklace, but I stabbed them with a fork," Shanna explained quietly. Justin stood aside and scowled at me. "Just give Francine that knockoff necklace, Camille. You're nothing but a lover to me. Learn your place." "I told you, I'm married." I shot him an icy look. But as repayment for the years he spent protecting me, I chose not to escalate this tension between us. However, after what Felicia and Francine did to Shanna, I reckoned it was time I settled the scores, both old and new. Justin caught me glowering at him and took a step back. He then stepped forward again to touch Shanna's face, but I smacked his hand away. He snarled, "Cut it out, Camille. Didn't you ever think what might happen if you get caught sneaking in to look for me?" Fuming, he made to apprehend me, and Felicia shouted, "Security! A thief snuck!"